Yo, what's good, YouTube? It is your guy, GZTV, back with another video, and today we are going to be talking about the first episode of Season 4 of Breaking Bad, and right after this, I'm going to be streaming some Rocket League with my cousin, so make sure after this video to head on over to GZTV Live on Twitch. I don't think I'm going to do any reactions tonight. I'm probably going to game a bunch, so probably till like 12 or 1. I have work tomorrow morning, but tomorrow night is going to be really bussin'. I wish my Elgato worked. I would be going crazy with the streams, doing some reactions. I still have some music to listen to, but Box Cutter, let's talk about it. Back-to-back episodes where side characters have been killed that we've grown to know. In a flashback, methamphetamine manufacturer Gail Bouchard excitedly set up equipment in an underground meth super lab by drug kingpin Gus Fringe. So we kind of figure out that Gale was like the OG cook. He's been there a while, ever since Gus kind of started this business. I mean, he probably had the money from working or owning Los Pollos, so he decided to make a lab, you know. Gale asked Gus about the blue meth being produced by chemist Walter White. So at the time that they were building this lab, Walter White was just now coming up. He was making really good meth. He got cancer. He knew he had a last resort thing. Gus explains he has reservations about hiring Walt, but Gale says Gus hire him because of his superior product. So Gale, as nice of a guy as he is, he convinced Gus to hire Walt. So through these flashbacks, they don't continue the story or anything, but I think they're really important because they kind of tell us how things came to be. Last season's flashback was kind of showing the humble beginnings of Walt and Skylar buying their new house. I really hope that we get more of these flashbacks throughout season 4. But yeah, really good flashback, puts a good touch on the story, explains a lot of things. In the present, following Walt's order, Jesse Pinkman has killed Gale to foil Gus's plot to kill them. Now, I thought that Jesse brought the gun to the side to not shoot him, but I think it was just camera movement. Gale is dead, officially. Gus's henchman Victor arrives at Gale's apartment and finds him dead, surrounded by neighbors who have called the police. So obviously, the neighbors know. They're like, oh shit, Gale's dead. I gotta call the police, get this body out of here, get this investigated, find out who did this. Victor knows. I mean, he could easily rat them out, but then again, it's weird. It's a toxic environment, the drug industry. It is insane. But, Victor knows he's failed his job to stop them from killing Gale. But now, Victor finds Jesse sitting in his car and forces him to return to the lab where Mike Ehrmantraut is holding Walt. I don't know why Jesse didn't just dip out of the situation, but yeah, he gets caught by Victor. They go back to the lab. Mike is concerned that Victor was seen at Gale's apartment and calls to inform Gus. Mike knows his shit. He was a police officer. He knows how to dodge things. He's worked for Saul, very evasive people, kind of dodging the law, dodging rules, laws, everything. But Mike tells Victor, did they see you? And he tells Gus, and this is foreshadowing. I didn't realize this at first. This is going to set Gus up to do something to Victor. Okay, guys? You're going to figure it out. It's kind of brutal. Victor realizes his own position is precarious and reveals he observed Walt and Jesse's work by starting to cook meth himself, hoping to prove his value to Gus. Like, he's really just the right-hand man for Gus. He wants to be more than that. He wants to be a cook. He wants to be someone, the company relies on. He wants to be a bigger character, pretty much, than he should be. He's playing his role now, and he's wanting to get arrogant. He wants to really get cocky out there. I don't know, man. It's interesting. So he's been studying Walt, Skylar, meanwhile, observes Walt's car in the driveway and moves it a few blocks away so Walter Jr. will not see it. She's like, oh shit, Walt's gone. Walt Jr. knows that. If he sees his car in the driveway, he's going to think something's up. No suspicions. Drive it down the block and make it look like Walt actually drove his car away when really he pretty much got kidnapped. She calls Saul Goodman to ask where Walt is, but Saul is paranoid because of Walt's falling out with Gus and busy checking his office for listening devices. So Saul's trying to reassure her that he knows where Walt is, but at the same time he has no idea. So he's trying to lie, he's trying to put some assurance into her. He's like, oh my goodness, Walt's not at his house. What happens? Skylar breaks into Walt's condominium with the aid of a locksmith, but finds little of interest. So she kind of like thwarts the guy into letting her in. Obviously, it's illegal to break into someone's place without the permission, but she has a good relationship with Walt. She eventually convinces him, gives him a lot of things to think about, and then he eventually lets her in. She's trying to find some clues on why he's gone. Marie struggles to maintain her composure while caring for a belligerent Hank, who is still bedridden after the attempt on his life, so Hank is still kind of recovering meanwhile, and Marie is getting like sad. She feels bad for him, that type of thing. Gus arrives at the lab but says nothing. A very strange demeanor when he shows up to the lab. I'm sure he's definitely kind of pissed off at Victor showing up, Victor not stopping Jesse from killing Gail. I should have known that he was going to do this, but it came to a shock when he did what he did to Gail. We're about to talk about it. Walt launches into a rambling monologue, hoping to convince Gus he needs Walt and Jesse alive. So Walt's bringing out this Heisenberg persona, and with this Heisenberg persona comes a lot of explaining himself, these monologues, him talking a lot, trying to convince, trying to play some mind games on Gus, and it works every time. I mean, Gus maintains his silence while changing into hazmat gear and picking up the box cutter Gail used during the lab setup. Again, possibly it's an X-Acto knife, but possibly another foreshadowing. And the episode title, Box Cutter, is another foreshadowing as to what is to come. He startles everyone by slicing Victor's throat, then coldly eyes Walt and Jesse to ensure his message was received. So yeah, Gus can kill people too. He shows it. He shows his malicious intent to put him before anyone else. Oh my god. It was insane. Grabs the box cutters, holds his head there, boom, cuts it. Oh my god. He quietly returns to his street clothes, then walks out, pausing only to say, get back to work. So he gets Victor out of the situation, Gail's out of the situation. The only guy that's really on his side is Mike Earntrot. You know? It's kind of crazy. You know, he gets rid of his other associate because he was seen with the body. So I don't know. They might have had suspicion that he did it. So it's probably a smart idea. Walt and Jesse dispose of Victor's body, the gun that killed Gail, and the box cutter in a barrel of hydrofluoric acid, which is how they disposed of Emilio in the first few episodes. So yeah, going back to their immature ways, I guess. I don't know. During breakfast, Walt insists that Gail's death was necessary, but expresses concern that Gus will kill them at his next opportunity. You know, if Gus just did what he did to Victor, he's sending a warning. He's sending a message. He's like, I can kill you guys at any moment I want. You work for me. You need me. I can kill you guys. You can't kill me. You know? Obviously, Walt is definitely needed. He's a masterful chemist, but still. Jesse believes it will be too much trouble for Gus to find another drug manufacturer, though Gus might make them wish they were dead. He's going to put them through hell, possibly. Police investigate Gail's apartment, but overlook his lab notes. That was another crazy part. You know, I was watching this episode, and I was like, oh my god, his lab notes are at his house. If they find the lab notes, this could bust Gus. I don't think it's going to get to Walt and them because they don't own the building. It's not going to get to any of the workers or anything. Gus could be in trouble here. These lab notes, like if they find the lab notes, they figure out where his building's at. He probably has like the address of the building, and they're fucked. They're screwed. Like it's going to be bad. I don't know if Gus might be a little smarter than that. We will have to see how this transpires. I won't be watching an episode tonight. I'm going to be playing a bunch of games, just having fun on the PlayStation, that sort of thing. But let's get to the reception. It was first publicly shown in 2011. During the scene when Gus killed Victor, Walter White's daughter in real life fainted in her seat because inside the theater at the sight of the blood, prompted theater officials to briefly interrupt the screening and ask for a doctor in the audience, causing a brief panic among the crowd. The violent scenes proved so bloody that AMC included a disclaimer warning about the violence at the start of the episode and after the commercial break halfway through the episode. I wish they started screening this stuff more. A lot of people viewed this. I mean, most watched Breaking Bad episode in the series, second highest rated season premiere for any AMC show. Falling behind the series premiere of Walking Dead. I kind of want to rewatch Walking Dead, to be honest. Walking Dead's crazy. 32% increase in viewership compared to the third season premiere. Performed strong with men between ages 18 and 34. Box Cutter is everything a Breaking Bad episode should be. While it might not have been as explosive as the finale or half measure, it played on all the show's strengths, building tension effortlessly, while bringing out the high caliber acting and cinematography we've come to know. With the season's official tagline being "Warning, highly volatile," it's hard to keep patient as we have to wait each episode for Walter White's next move and perhaps his full evolution to a ruthless crime lord. It received critical acclaim. The episode demonstrated how effective the creators of Breaking Bad are at manipulating the emotions of their viewers. The story is remarkably simple, but the execution is extremely effective, and the amount of screen time dedicated to Gus calmly changing his clothes before and after killing Victor was a move so ballsy and so brilliant, I actually started giggling the second time they did it. The episode demonstrated how effective Breaking Bad can be with a minimal amount of dialogue, such as Gus's silence during a scene in the lab and Jesse's wordlessness throughout the episode as he processed what he had done to Gale. I praised the color scheme of the blood red meth lab as an illustrator of Walt and Jesse's descent into hell. The episode, it's eloquent silences, it's breathtaking pictorial compositions. These are pleasures that transcend 98% of television's usual attempts at dirty realism or fashionable pessimism. Gus's killing of Victor is one of the more jarring scenes in Breaking Bad history. One of the most intense episodes I've ever seen on the show. It solidified Gus's standing as one of the greatest TV antagonists ever. This is a great episode. The filmmaking, I would say this filmmaking is that of like Alfred Hitchcock, the best example of television's ability here to take an elastic approach to narrative and let certain incidents or moments expand to fill up most or all of an episode. Since The Suitcase, the episode from Mad Men. It's a minimalist, deliberately paced episode. It was never boring due to the excellent acting, dialogue, and suspense, which illustrates you just how quickly the show lost its innocence. The subplots involving Skylar, Hank, and Marie kept the episode's place well. The performance of Jesse, despite his almost complete lack of dialogue throughout the episode, the script raised interesting contrast between Walt, who acts impulsively and rash while captured, and Gus, who seems calm and in control. However, it felt like Victor was killed rather than Walter Jesse, simply because the writers could not kill the two main protagonists. Of course they couldn't. It's a great and intriguing way to start the season. Jesse, again, he was phenomenal. Mixed feelings about the Gus character's evolution from behind-the-scenes criminal to a hands-on killer. It's an exquisite exercise in tension. It builds a slow crescendo of what looks to be an impressively strong season. A great start for a show that just keeps getting better. The dark humor kept the tension of the show balanced. Particularly, I liked the pre-credit scene and the ramifications it had for the show and its characters. The cinematography, pacing, and tension were so effective in this episode that I think I broke a sweat just watching this thing. The transformation of Walter was awesome. Few other shows would risk making the protagonist so unlikable. The cinematic scene with Gus was brilliant. The script was great for taking its time and building the tension. There's a lot. The episode's effective in scenes featuring a little dialogue with Jesse and Gus. Like, no show does silence like Breaking Bad. I liked Walt's desperate monologue while trying to convince Gus not to kill him. It provided a deep insight into Walt's character and his inability to accept responsibilities for his actions. The scene with Gus killing Victor was a masterclass in building tension due to the strong writing, direction, and acting by Gus. It's a fantastic, bloody, shocking season premiere, one of the best in the show's history. I liked Gus's performance. It could make the actor worthy of contention for an award. I don't know if he won one. It was great. Again, Gus's performance, his silence and calm during the climactic scene was one of the great recent moments of TV menace. It's a fine opening episode that did not advance the plot significantly, but served as an artful reminder of where the character stands psychologically. I believe the episode demonstrated that Walter is in fact a weak man, comparing his useless pleas to Gus to his ineffective attempts to mislead Skyler about his drug manufacturing abilities in earlier seasons. Some people, they say they prefer episodes that mix its darker aspects with black humor. Boxcutter was all claustrophobia and fear. A lot of people condemned the violent scene with Victor's death, calling it totally gratuitous, serving no plot or character purpose. It is a top 5 episode regardless of what people say. I think this episode's fantastic. The last few episodes have been crazy. I love what this season's been doing. I'm out, y'all. I know this was a longer review than others, but it's such a good episode. It's a really good premiere into the season.